Hello everybody, the first topic I want to talk about is vibrato on a saxophone. As you know, we produce it by saying wow 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 wow, and that should be in triplets in different speeds. So the two things that you can change is the amplitude and the frequency of the vibrato. So if you actually choose a very fast vibrato with a big amplitude, it will sound like that. It's not really popular anymore. It used to be popular during the time of Sidney Bechet, for instance, the beginning of the Petit Flamme. As you see, I actually use a big amplitude and a fast vibrato. And I would say if you want to practice the vibrato, always start thinking in triplets, different speeds. Like wow 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 wow. Fast that would be wow 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 wow. And then wow 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 wow. People are also using 16 notes and 8 notes, but wow 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 is probably not so musical. So think about triplets and then forget about the tempo eventually, because you don't want to be predictable with the vibrato inside the tempo. But for practicing, triplets are a very good start. So if you have a tempo like bom, 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 for the beginning, just watch out that the amplitude and the frequency is always the same. At the end, when you actually use it in an artistic environment, playing music, you exactly don't want that. You actually want to play around with it. But just let me now show you how to use the vibrato in a musical context, where you actually start a note not using the vibrato and then actually introducing the vibrato inside the note. Now I'm trying to control the amplitude and the frequency. What I'm doing is, when I play a higher note, I have a little bit of faster vibrato, and if I actually come to the end of the phrase, my vibrato starts to slow down. So at the end of the note it slows down, and that feels very natural, and this is also something a lot of players do. And here one thing is very important, that at the very end of the note you have to watch out that it doesn't go up. With flutes the problem is that the notes go down. With this, clarinets, the problem is that the note goes up, so you have to actually do something against that in order, you have to say more R, from E to R, in order to correct that. But what you actually could hear now is that the vibrato got slower when I faded the note out at the very end. Another thing which is interesting is that what great players like Ben Webster were using, now it's a little bit less common, is a big vibrato in the subtones of the instrument. A vibrato that actually cuts the notes into different parts. So it's so big that the note actually breaks up. So you have that kind of effect. effect, and I use that effect now in the subtones. The very difficult thing is if you actually play not subtones, regular playing, and you want to change into a subtone in the low register with a vibrato. That's something really difficult, especially on a soprano saxophone, so I'm going to try to do it. Or motorcycle in the back. That's actually fun. That's just, you know, I just wanted to show you how to do that, how to actually go from a regular note into a subtone without changing the pitch. That's the very difficult part there, because the subtone obviously is lower than the regular note, and the regular note down, especially the soprano saxophone, has a tendency to be way sharp. So you have to counteract that, and at the same time, as soon as you change to the subtone, you have to push that one up so that it's the same note. I'm going to try it. If I don't do that, so the note, the first note was way sharp, and then the subtone was way flat. So this is something to take into consideration. It's not directly related to the vibrato, but I just want to point out the other problems that arise while trying to play these and show these things. A very important thing for me is also that the vibrato doesn't always start right in the beginning of the note. You know, otherwise you have some sort of a mechanical vibrato, which is musically less interesting. Like if you do it all the time, it sounds like is okay, but what you actually want to do, it was what in my opinion is much more interesting, is if you have a straight note and then you start to open it up with the vibrato. Like so the beginning of the note is kind of straight, and then I start to add the vibratos, which gives it much more like a natural flow, and I can actually control it too. Then there are also extreme cases of vibrato where you actually use it for expression. Like, mostly, you know, if you want to show a blue note in a certain context, then you can add an additional effect playing that note flat and add the vibrato. And as I pointed out before, you know, the vibrato has to be inside the note usually, and now in this example it's actually jumping out of the note. You know, it's actually altering the whole pitch of the note, and it has to go downwards. Sometimes people are saying wow wow wow, it's also going upwards. You never do that. You have the note and then the vibrato goes down. Wow, 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 not wow, oo, 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 oo. If you do this, yeah, your sound becomes really very unstable. So let me show you this special effect, for instance. That's more in a blues context. flat, and you use big vibrato as a special stylistic moment in your music. So this was a segment about vibrato on a saxophone. I'm going to continue also with other topics like, for instance, intonation or articulation. And yes, just to remember, basically with a vibrato, there are like 3 to 4 important things. Amplitude, you have to be able to change that, bigger, smaller vibrato. Frequency means how fast it is, you have to be able to change that. And I would practice it in triplets, and you have to be able to control it in all musical situations over the whole instrument, so you can actually become very expressive tool for your interpretations and your improvisations or wherever you want to use it. And always think about the human voice. It's basically just a transposition of what great singers are doing. Thank you very much.